that is true. You just have to come down 40, I think it's 40 West, wasn't it, 40 W. And you'd come straight down from Knoxville, and you come. That's how we got in. It seems like the Boone Tavern used to have some really good, and I was trying to check on that, those little biscuits with the ham in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it wasn't just me. No, I remember the country ham. I just want to take a moment to say, I'm really so pleased to have my colleague Michael with me today. Michael and I just, we were practically going to have to get married. We had to go through, like 1,000 photographs because of this. And this was sheer good fortune. We invited Toni Morrison's son, Slade, died. And I went down to see Maya because, losing a kid is not what you intend to do. Whatever else they are, you don't want to bury them. And I went down to see Maya. Maya lives two hours down in Winston-Salem. And I said to Maya, what should we do? And I was laughing because we're both poets. So no matter what's going on in the world, if something happens, a poet said we should have a reading. So, I have cancer, we'll have a reading for you. It doesn't matter. We do that. And so Maya and I decided we should have a reading. Originally, the reading was going to be at Wake Forest because that's Maya's home. And we thought it would be easier for her. Maya has that bus, which is incredible. It's like a rolling loft. It's fantastic. But it costs a fortune to move that. And so we were just thinking, make it easy on Maya. But as the details, we worked on this for a little over a year. And as the details began to emerge, Maya said to me, would you like to have it at Tech? I don't think I can handle the details. And it worked for me because I had spoken to Dr. Steger and I had spoken to Mark McNamee, to our provost. They both had said, if you can bring it here, we would love to have it. We do have a bigger auditorium and a lot of other things. So we moved it from Wake Forest up to Virginia Tech. I was also lucky because now I'm going to have essentially my group. And we do a lot of things. This book was designed by James Madison. Robert Moss designed it, but we were going to print it, and that's very important. And we had Michael looking at everything. The picture that you see of me that's so fabulous is Michael's picture. It is. I love it so much. It is. It's a fabulous, and I let him pick it. Yeah, it's nice because I thought I don't want to pick my photo. So when I was coming here, I said, "Michael, are you coming?" He said, "I don't know." And I said, "Michael," so I'm so pleased that he is with me today and that we are here together. I know Michael has friends all around in this area, so it's very, very nice. These are, I am giving them away. I would like for everybody to take one because we at Virginia Tech are a land grant school, and we are always reminding people of history. But you remember that in Abraham Lincoln is fighting a great civil war, and in the middle of that war, he signed a bill for land grant colleges. So we probably need to send a note to Barack and to remind him that when other people had other things to do, they took care of educational concerns. It's very important. And I worry now because I saw all of those people sitting at the White House and they're all laughing and talking and smiling. And you know that they're saying, well, let's take the crayons away from kindergartners and let's make sure that, nobody's going to get some paper so they can draw. Every time they want to save a nickel in America, they start to pick on the arts. And I think it's so important that we in the art community fight for our right. The hardest working dollar in America is the art dollar because it's the only dollar that never rests. It's the one that turns around and turns around and turns around. We do something with it. Whether we buy coffee, whether we do books, no matter what we're doing, that art dollar continues to turn around. Somebody's going to say, well, Nikki, you artists get rich. No, we artists don't. No, every now and then, an Angelina Jolie or somebody like that. But when you think about the number of artists, and then you think about the number of rich people, this does not compute. It doesn't. We spend money and we pass it along. If you want, it's only two things you can do, actually, and I don't know why I'm the only one that seems to know this. It's only two things you can do to jumpstart the economy: an airport or a theater. Either one will do the job. A theater will, of course, bring, not here, of course, but it will bring a bar in any other civilized area.
We're getting there.
And that'll bring a restaurant. You see what I'm saying? And people will start to come in, and that's what you want to do because you want to keep money circulating. Money doesn't have to have a return. It has to circulate. And everybody acts like, oh, how do we make money? You make money by putting money to work. You can't have billionaires just sitting on their asses, on their money, doing nothing with it, except trying to figure out a way to make more money, and they do that by not hiring more people. And if that makes sense, even an old Nazi like Henry Ford knew better than that. That's the truth. You didn't have to be smart to know that. So I want
Amen.
That's true. Thank you. But I want to share this with you because we in the art community must talk to each other more. Everybody, now some people in this room write. And everybody that writes always thinks they have a great idea. Your idea sucks if you don't share it with somebody. Because what you're doing is sitting on a half an idea that if you told somebody about it, they would say, oh, it won't work for this reason or it could work for that reason. You learn something. And you keep moving it along and moving it along and moving it on. It's very important. The art community has to talk to each other. If there's any way, because I love Ron Rash so much, I'll be over here in April to hear him. I just think he's so wonderful. And I think you all are so lucky that you're getting. If we get a Nobelist from Appalachia, it will be Ron. I actually think the next female Nobelist is going to be Edwidge Danticat, who is a young Haitian American. She's from, of Crick Crack, the Dew Breakers, Breath Eyes Memory. She lives in Miami, just incredibly brilliant. But when you start to look at the brilliant young men, you're looking at only really two people, Ron Rash and Sherman Alexie. And both of them just do incredible work. And I think, again, we need to talk to each other about who we want so that everybody's just not always taking the scared people who just suck up to them. Well, you get sick of that. You do. The work is really just sucks. And somebody says, oh, but you went all right. Well, what does that mean? You have to have something that people can use. And a part of that is putting your heart into it. So I'm hoping that you will take a copy of this. It's from Virginia Tech. I hope that some of you will be considering Virginia Tech for your graduate work. We are, as I was teasing the kids yesterday, you're already used to being no place. So it's not going to be a big adjustment. You come over to it's like, well, I'm still no place. Mom, no place, but And we actually are having a little trouble this year, but we usually have a pretty good football team. So we do. Well, you can't always, you got to have a year like what we're having. And so we will beat UVA. If I have to go out there and throw the damn ball back. I got that big flick, to do that. But as long as we beat UVA, we've had a good season. No, the team has had a hard time. And these things happen. And, it's easy. Everybody loves you when you win. So now we find out who the true fans are. You know what I'm saying? And I've been saying to the boys, because I teach a couple of them, and it can be hard because people say cruel things. People are strange. When this experiment is over, and we know that it will be, humans have a lifespan. I don't mean individual, I mean as a group, we're like the dinosaurs or anything else. But one of the things that we do that's so crazy is that we think that we can say cruel things to people and it matters. So we now have, like football players, going to Kroger's, that people are saying things like, why did you drop the ball? And it's like, why did you think that? It makes you crazy. What do you mean, why did I drop the ball? Or why did I, and they say cruel things, and they're boys. Those boys are not making $1 million. Ask Frank Beamer, who was a nice guy. I really love Frank. Ask Frank. Ask Billy Heighten them. Don't ask the boys who don't make anything, who are putting their bodies at risk, who are going to end up at 35 with arthritis. They're going to have to take pills before they can get out of bed because they're playing a game. Don't ask them why we didn't win something or lose. Get over it. And it just makes me, human beings, I'm sure that somebody will miss us, but I won't be one. I really won't. I just thought I'd mention that. Thinking, I was never quite sure my audiences, and that's not anybody's fault, probably because I didn't read things, but I was thinking that I was going to have adults here. And the one thing, because I knew I was going to have kids, and kids are nice, and kids fall in love and stuff, but adults know better. I mean, we know that there's a little bit more to that. So don't you think? And so the one thing I wanted to say, for those of us who are in our late 50s, I'm 69, there's just nothing like your 60s because you do fall in love. And people think, grandmother's too old. They do the foolish things like that. And I would urge you, do not go to grandmother's house without calling first. You will be embarrassed. Yeah. you have to do something, and falling in love in your 60s is really, really great because you don't have sort of the problems one has when one falls in love in their 20s or teens. These things are just gone away. So you're kind of free to enjoy your life, and it's really funny because it only happens to women. Yeah. When your mom dies, everybody's trying to put your dad with somebody. Everybody's really pleased. Oh, Aunt Hazel is over at the house today. You're happy. But when your dad dies, you're like, Mama doesn't want somebody else. Yes, she does. Of course she does. And you need to take her to get her nails done and get her pedicure. She needs new clothes. She could use a facial. No, you have to. Yeah, she's got a right to fall in, not just a right, an obligation. Because probably for the first time, she can just do whatever she wants to do without having to be worried about anything. And do not be judging her, like, ooh, none of that. So I think it's fun. So I fell in love because, it's just that my mom died. It's a sad story. And I've been talking about my mother here because I think we are here. Mommy was born in Albany, Georgia, actually. And so it's all Appalachian. And grandmother and grandpapa, her parents, moved into Knoxville, and all of the girls, they have 3 girls, Agnes, Mommy and Agnes and Ann, and they were all born in Albany, and they moved to Knoxville. All of the grandchildren were born in Knoxville. My son was the first child to be born in Cincinnati, because everybody else is born, in Knoxville. And so Mommy, 5 years ago, died. And it was very sad. It's a natural order of things. You know how you got all of that crap in your head, that you understand how things happen, and but that doesn't make it any better. You're just incredibly sad. And I was being incredibly sad about the loss of my mother because I actually still miss I was close to Mommy, and I miss her. So there are times like when we had the shooting, I was sharing her with at Virginia Tech. I literally saw my hand reach for the phone. I was just going to pick up the phone and call Mommy just to see so it's that kind of thing. So when Mommy died, I was very sad. And being very sad, I mourned. I'm a big fan of mourning. I hate people that tell you, you have to be strong, you have to stand up. No, damn it, you cry and moan and wonder why. All of them things. Because if you don't do that, it's all going to be inside of you, eating at you. Of course, I'm a writer, so I also get to write. And I would urge everybody, if you're a writer, and that's what country and western is. You get to write the songs, my mother died. And, so some good comes out of everything. And, you just miss it. But I realize I can't sit on my deck with my dog drinking at 11 o'clock in the day. Eventually you have to get over that. And so, because you are grown, and so it's like, okay. And I was laughing with the kids today because I had a party, and that was a lot of fun. People that didn't even like me came because they're trying to cheer me up, because everybody understands, But after you get that done, you have to say to yourself, and I do think it's different. Some of you I think losing your mother is really different from losing your father. When my father died, we didn't get along all that well, but nonetheless, he's still your father and he's dead. And you say, oh, he's dead, and you're sorry, and you put a headstone, and, you listen to your mother cry, because Mommy always liked him way more than I did. She had it right, I guess. But when your mother dies, it's a redefinition of yourself. Now, I don't know if men look at it differently. I don't know if men look at it almost the exact opposite, that losing their fathers makes them redefine. But losing your mother makes you redefine yourself. And so you get to say to yourself, now, who do I want to be? Because my son was grown when Mommy died, and I had done everything that and I still do. I think I had done everything that I expected me to do. So for the first time in my life became my own, because I didn't have to actually answer to anybody. I know Mommy and Grandmother are sitting in heaven kind of watching me and wondering what I'm up to, but it's not the same thing as actually having to come home and hear or embarrassing them or doing something like that. And so I was just very lucky because I was thinking, okay, I need to do something. I've never been that big a woman, but I didn't want to gain weight, because you gain weight and then you have, heart problems, just crap. And I thought, you need to start to walk. Well, I don't know what you know about walking, because being here in Berea, it's just wonderful because you have so much, you can walk or you can hike and stuff. So I started walking. I live only 10 miles from school, but if I take the Huckleberry Trail, for those of you who know Blacksburg, I live in Christiansburg, it's only 6 miles. So that's a nice walk, and I can walk into school. So I started doing that. I toned up. Except saying I looked good. You always have to know when you look good. But it also made me do that other thing. Now that I have toned up and I'm looking a little better, I needed new clothes. And I hadn't realized that I hadn't bought new clothes in so long because mommy was never really sick, but you knew that something was wrong. And so, we didn't just like go off to D.C. to buy clothes. The things that you would have done because we shopped together and we cooked together. We continued to cook together, but we had quit shopping. So I didn't have any new clothes. So I did what all the old ladies do. I just got myself in a car, and that's when I had my old car. I have a new car now. And drove over to Neiman Marcus, and I was like, I need clothes. Well, when you do that, you look better. And then people start to smile at you. And then you smile back. And then you smile, and it's like, let's have lunch, because that's what everybody starts with. Well, let's have lunch. Oh, okay. And it's kind of fun, and then one thing leads to another, as the old, remember the coaster, and another, and another, ooh. And so it's very nice, and so you fall in love. And if you're going to fall in love, of course, you have to write the poems, because you know it can't last. At your age, you're too set in your ways. I mean, can you imagine somebody actually moving into your home, and he'd be leaving, his socks on the floor, something to make you crazy. So it's not going to work. But in that moment that you have, it's kind of nice. And being a writer, of course, get the poem. And then when you break up, you'll also get that poem. So you got it's just a wonderful way to get things done. So I wrote a book, which is what I wanted to share this evening because we've been doing some other books. But I wrote Bicycles. And somebody said, well, Nikki, why is it called Bicycles? It's because life, essentially, is a bicycle. It's about trust and balance. And that's what we know. The idea that you get on an instrument, 2 wheels, right? And that's all it was. This book has 2 wheels when I realized that. It opens with Blacksburg under siege because Blacksburg hadn't had a murder in God knows when. And we had a murder on August 31st. And it's going to close on We Are Virginia Tech because we had a tragedy on April 16th. So I had these wheels, and it was like, how do I connect these wheels to my own personal sadness? You fall in love. And so I had to find a way to bring this line together. You cannot reason with unreasonable people, and there's no point to being cruel, but there's no point to being nice to mean people. And so what you have to do is find a way. We do know, and it makes you sound so 60s, but we do know that love is the only answer. You have to continue to reach out and find a way to love. If not those people, I was never a big fan of love my enemies. I don't. I dislike them. And I do. I said to my students, if I had my way, I would never run for president, but if I could, I would definitely, I think God should be an elective office, and I would definitely run. I do. I want to be God so that I can smite mine enemies.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. Vote for me. You know what I'm saying? But I realized I had this instrument. And if I could connect it, and that's what we're going to do with love, I have a bicycle. If I put a handle, I have a bicycle, which is how we came to this book. I had fun with this book because I'm a jazz fan, and I don't know if you remember, last year was the 50th anniversary of Kind of Blue, and it was also the 50th anniversary of Giant Steps. And people I don't know if we're jazz fans here because we are, but you have to be. I mean, there's just nothing like Miles. And of course, Miles had issues, but Mr. Davis was not my lover, so it wasn't my problem. That was Cecily's problem. And, she dealt with it, and she took care of him, and I'm happy. But I wrote, I wanted to open on this one because it's called Shoe Jazz. Green shoes, blue shoes, red shoes, good news. Bad news, blue shoes, no ties, loose pants. Pink shoes shining, white shoes whining, all shoes dining on the little ants. Your shoes, her shoes, my shoes, good news. His shoes, those shoes, Miles Davis, all blues. I was talking about being in love. There's nothing as silly as being in love. I'm sure we all know that. And it doesn't make sense. I mean, no matter what you're doing, you're trying to figure out now why. And of course, some things you have no answer to. But I wrote this poem. It's one of my favorite because it's quite true. We were at dinner last night. We were talking about, I didn't realize, I think one day probably when I die, somebody will bring all of my food poems together because we're foodies and I do a lot with food. Food is fun. And you really, aside from the fact that you have to eat it, I can't imagine. Can you imagine somebody's idea of food is Burger King? It'll make you puke. Your hands stink. My kids got mad at me. I teach football players. I teach at 8 o'clock, and they're usually because football players get up at 6, as you know, and they run and lift and stuff. And one of the kids came in, and I let them. It's a writing class, so, food and wine, they won't let me teach it with wine, but they should. But that all goes together. And one of the kids came in, and he had either Burger King or that other thing, McDonald's, and it stunk up the room. And I said to him, my God, it smells like you're eating something dead. And of course they all laughed at me because it's like, Nikki, of course it's dead. I said, no. No. I know dead meat, and this is not it. And we are about 2 miles from Kroger's. If you ever at Virginia Tech, the building I taught in is now being torn down. But I taught in Schultz. And so I said, we're going to road trip. And so we just all grabbed our backpacks and we went to Kroger's. Because I just, it's like, no, you need to see the difference. And we went to the meat department, right? And there's beef, and there's pork, and there's chicken, and there's lamb, and there's whatever else, right? It's all there. And I said, I want every one of you to touch a piece of meat. Which they did. And it's like everybody's looking at me like Nikki's crazy. And I said, now I want you to smell your hands, which they did. It does not smell like Burger King. I ruined it for so many people. I'm glad, because it smelled like dead ratters. I don't know what the hell they make that out of, but it's not. No, how many cows can there be? Think about it. A chicken has 2 breasts, like any other woman, and everybody's always talking about white meat. I like the breast meat. No, you have to eat some of the dark meat, baby, because that's life. Except, of course, people bleach it. And it's like, this is really white meat. No, this is dark meat bleached. Get over it. I wrote, that'd be another discussion. I wrote this poem because I'm always doing food things. And it's how I look at the world, actually. I like boiled turnips, boiled potatoes, boiled rutabagas with butter and sea salt, but not every day. I like fried Virginia flounder, fried sand dabs, fried smelts, but usually only on Friday nights. I want drop biscuits, miniature Parker House rolls with extra thin white bread. When I uncharacteristically make a sandwich, I like extra thin white bread. I like garlic straight off the vine, anchovies anytime, and good red wines, because I'm too old to drink cheap. I like to pound and grill my veal. I rub my beef in a special chili mixture. I really don't eat anyone else's ground meat. In other words, I'm normal. So this is the question. Why am I so enchanted with you? I like the love one because it's fun. I don't know if I'm into Mother Nature a little bit. I'm not like, whoa. But no, I do sea turtles, which is really cool. I really like the sea turtles. I'll be glad when the drug wars in Mexico are over so that I can go back to my sea turtles. And I'm getting ready to go to Antarctica, and it's a summer in Antarctica when we go to be like 20 degrees or something like that. But if we come back this way, we're going to have the migrations. And it's just, the most fascinating thing is the migrations. The gazelles, you get like 2 million gazelles coming through the tundra because the wolves and other things will eat them. But they all give birth. It's really very clever. They all give birth at the same time. So the wolves can't take it away. They take what they need, but then there's something left. We're the only people that would put something to extinction. Everything else takes what they need. But I did migrations because the longest, as you know, migration, and I happened to, it was so wonderful. I was down in Zuatanego on the year that the monarchs, came, and just seeing them, they're just all around. It's just, just sitting in looking, you go up to the mountains. It's just incredible. And of course, I think everything deserves champagne. So I do, yeah, you got to go see the animals, take champagne, enjoy. This is called migrations. When the sun returns to the Arctic Circle from its winter west, the grasses sprout, seducing the winged and the hoofed. Polar bears and their cubs must flee before the ice breaks up, although others begin a northern journey. The snow goose flies from the Gulf of Mexico to mate and birth her young. 2 million Mongolian gazelles move over the tundra, where each gives birth at the same time, defying the will of the predators who would consume the gazelle's future. Though only, of course, to provide nourishment for their own young predators. Let's not judge too harshly. Salmon swim upstream, jumping falls and grizzly bears. Grasshoppers, ignoring the advice of ants, make music to celebrate winter's end. Monarch butterflies, leaving the safety of Zuadnego, forge north, beginning the longest winged journey of spring. With only the hope of warmth and the promise of grasses, they unflinchingly face hunger, thirst, predators, winds, rains, uncertainties, as would I for you. Because you do. I mean, that's what love is. You just face all these uncertainties and you worry about it. I was laughing. My students, who I think they think I'm crazy, you know, and they sit in the class and text, you know, she said something crazy again, Mom, or they're tweeting up or something like that. But like a lot of people, to be fair, I spend, I think, too much time alone. I've been trying to deal with how I want to deal with that. Because, you know, you do. You're on the road, you're in a hotel room, you do whatever. And you realize that you're doing that. When I'm home, I really like to eat dinner like about 7:30. I mean, it's pretty much a normal time. I know you know immediately what the problem is. I do what most Americans do. I'm sitting at home, it's 7:30, I fix my plate. I do plate my food because I refuse to eat ugly food, and I refuse to eat colors that don't go together. I'm just not having any of that. And I always have a cloth napkin. You deserve it. And don't let somebody tell you should grab a bowl of cereal or some crap like that. No, you need to sit down and take care of yourself. But what happens at 7:30, of course, Jeopardy is on. And of course, what happened, I don't know what you know about writers, but we are an incredibly competitive group of people. We really are. No matter how much, you know, we're like, oh, shucks, but we don't mean it. And so you turn on Jeopardy and you're trying to eat, and of course, Alex is asking these dumb questions. These people are missing it, you know. Who said I have a dream? You know. And you know, invariably, in all fairness, some white guy, you know, Malcolm X, and they're always missing the black questions, which makes me really happy. Well, you ought to know your black history, damn it, so you can win something. So you should. So I'm looking at that, and I'm trying to answer the questions before they do. And of course, immediately I realize I'm giving myself an ulcer. You know, because you're trying to be, you've got no control over the board, so you're trying to be ahead of it. So I realized, okay, Nikki, you cannot eat your dinner and watch Jeopardy. You have to choose. I must say I did the right thing. I decided I'm going to have dinner at 8. I'm going to have a glass of wine. I'm going to watch Jeopardy. I know you know what happened to me at 8 o'clock, because it happens to everybody. On like at least 5 different channels, you get dum 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 dum. Law and Order. So as you're sitting there getting ready to eat your dinner, you're cutting your steak, there's this dead woman. That's the truth. And you're sitting there like, oh my God, you feel like a cannibal, you know what I'm saying? So I have a dish. So I just started, you know, we got 500 channels. I said, no, there has to be something I can do with anything. And I started turning, and found the most perfect program on earth. Deal or no deal. It requires no intelligence. It has nothing to do with luck, you know. And it's just for those of you who are my age, you know, deal or no deal, it's just Queen for a day. You remember Queen for the Day? Yeah. Do you want to be queen? Yeah, you know, and you would come down and it's like, why do you want to be queen for a day? Well, my refrigerator broke last week and my kid hasn't had any fresh milk. You know, it's always these sad-ass stories, you know. And, excuse me, and it's going to be the same thing, deal or no deal. You know, you have Howie, and it's really nice. The girls come in, they say, the girls are coming in, dum, 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 and they're holding their briefcases. And the briefcases have numbers. And the announcer is saying, the briefcases are controlled electronically. What does this tell you? That no matter what you think, by the time you open that case, it's going to have something else. And these lights are controlled electronically. If somebody wants to cut them out, it has nothing to do with me. But people are actually sitting around thinking, I have control. Yeah, what the hell is wrong with you? They come on, Larry, and invariably Howie will call a Larry down, and it's always Larry. Larry's a little overweight, always. Have you noticed that, for those of you who watch the game? So his clothes, I mean, it's really a sort of a take on, Little Abner Snuffy Smith. Larry comes, it makes me mad on that level. Larry comes bouncing down, little tummy is round, and it's like, Larry, why do you want to be on Deal or No Deal? And it's always got these sad stories. Well, Howie, I've been married to a little lady for 30 years and never did give her a honeymoon. And the grandbaby's getting ready to go to kindergarten. She needs shoes. And, oh, Blue, he needs a shot. And everybody's like, oh. So they clap. This is really good. So Howie's going to say, do you have a lucky number? For those of you who don't watch the game, that's good. Do you have a lucky number? And Larry's going to say, yeah, I lost my virginity. I was 21. That's my lucky number. Everybody's going to clap. Oh, that's lucky. He got a lucky number. So he takes 21, right? Now, for those of you who don't play the game, what Larry has to do is pick 5 numbers. The high numbers are on the left side. The high numbers on the right side. The low numbers on the left side. The whole trick is to try to keep away from the high numbers, but you got no control. Because why, boys and girls? They are electronically controlled. Whoa. So it's so basic. And so Larry picks his 5 numbers. And for whatever reason, Larry does not take away anything on the high side, right? This is good. So he's going to get his name. The phone's going to ring. Larry, Howie's going to pick it up. Hello. He always does that thing. I'll tell him. And he hangs up. And Howie always says, this is good money. Well, actually, he's telling the truth because Larry came without a pot to piss in and when to throw it out of. So whatever he gets is better than what he had. So let's say he's going to get something like $18,000. Not bad. Say it's $18,000. But Larry's like got an attitude, and he's looking up. I'm going to beat the banker. Well, the banker is a machine, baby. Everybody knows that. So he's shaking his fist. No deal. I got to tell you, I'm on Larry's side because he did come in with nothing. But this was just the first time around. So why not try it again? So he's got to pick 5 more numbers on the second round. And let's say for whatever reason he picks 4 out of the low side and 1 out of but the one that he picks is going to be $50,000, something like that. It won't change because he's got the $1,000,000, $750,000, $500,000, $250,000 in play. So the number is going to go up. And it goes up in crazy in increments. So it's going to be like, hello, I'll tell him. $35,000. Well, now we're getting into money. It's becoming a little serious. It's only $15,000 off of $50,000, and no matter how you cut it, $50,000 is real money. But Larry's got an attitude, and maybe he's right because maybe he's on a winning streak, and maybe he's like, okay, this is going to work. No, and so he now has to pick 4 numbers. Now, why ever somebody is playing, the gods are playing with Larry. So Larry picks 4 numbers. He doesn't knock any of the big numbers out, so it's going to go up yet again. And it's going to go up weirdly, so it'll be like $42,000. Now we have a problem. That is very close to $50,000. And I can tell you this, if you ever find yourself on Deal or No Deal, the 3rd deal is your best deal. No matter what you think, that's it. Take it and go home and enjoy yourself. But Howie's going to say something. He's going to say, that's a lot of money, Larry. Who do you have to help you choose? Now, this is madness. This is Larry's money. He needs to do it, and it's going to be like, well, Howie, I brought my little loser cousin here. It's disgraceful, and I used to date Lulu, but we remain good friends. No, you don't. These people don't like you. They don't understand why you are getting a chance to make money and they don't. So they're standing there saying things like, no deal, no deal. You got the $1 million. No, baby, you don't. And you don't need to ask these losers about anything. That is your money. Whether it's a stock market, whether it's your savings and loan, whether it's your child or your brother asking you to borrow some, the answer is no, because that's your money. And if they had any, they wouldn't be sharing with you. I'm cynical. So Larry makes the mistake, of course, of listening to them, and he goes, no deal. Well, the next thing, some of you watch the show, the very next call, the $1 million goes out. Right? So he's going to be stuck in that thing. But now he's going to do that thing that people do when they gamble, though there is no gamble. I can tell you that if you don't know that. There is no such thing as a gamble. The house wins and you lose. There's no gamble there. It's a sure thing. And so he's going to now try to make it up. So now he has to do 3. and then he has to do 2, and eventually it's just going to come down, and it's sad. At this point, I am laughing. Deal or No Deal is so good for my digestion. It is. I am just, laughter is good for you when you eat. I'm laughing because Larry is an idiot. He had a good deal. He had what he needed. Go home, Larry, but he's not. So now, as the Beatles would say, not the Beatles, Rolling Stone, he's on a losing streak, and it's him and like Andrea, one of them, and she's standing there and he's standing there, but he is messed up so badly, there's nothing to do but stick with his box, his briefcase. So he does, and we now know we're down to either $100 or 10 cents, because that's the way, right? And we know Larry's hard luck, so it's going to be the 10 cent. And he's going to do something, if I may express it this way, and I apologize if there are any tender ears, he's going to do something called a shit-eating grin. And he's going to say, I had a good time. No, baby, you didn't. You were pimped, you were used, and you are a loser. No, you didn't, right? I went to class, I teach Tuesday, Thursday, and it was one of those times, I saw a woman turn down $600,000. That's how far she had gone, that's the truth. Nobody's ever won the million, but she turned it down. And so I said to my students, I don't understand. Why can't people like me be on Deal or No Deal? I could use $50,000. I got a dog. You know what I'm saying? I have needs. And to the person, these are kids I know. They say, "Oh no, Nikki, you shouldn't be on Deal or No Deal." I said, "Why?" They said, "Well, we don't want to see you make a fool of yourself." I said, "You got to be kidding. Do you really think that the first time in my life that I've made a fool of myself is on Deal or No Deal? If that's the case, I have led a blessed life. Are you kidding?" And they were like, "No, we don't want you on there." And that hurt my feelings, to be honest. I wanted them to say, "Yeah, go for it," or, something like. And I thought, I went back to my office. My feelings were hurt. I went back to my office, I wrote a poem. It's called Deal or No Deal. And I wanted them to know who they are forever. So it's for English 4714. And in case they try to get away from that, CRN 16927. They're lucky I didn't list their name. My class is not so sure that I should apply to Deal or No Deal. They think I am lucky after all. I am teaching them. They know I am smart. They are, for example, learning, yet they don't want to see me make those greedy mistakes and push beyond the envelope. The banker is neither friend nor foe. He's a machine. To think you can beat him is to think you will win at Vegas or love. But I persist. My dream is a red dress above my knees, high-heel red sandals, and me coming over the top. The music booming. Boom, ba-da-dum, dum, 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 dum. Hi, Howie, I will say with a lovely smile. I don't want to play the game. I want to be it. They were born 40 years after me, yet I am younger. I know you cannot go through life unless you are willing, for love or money, to make a fool of yourself. Where else does the ecstasy lie? I love it. I've had a light rate quarrel going with Aesop. And my grandfather adored Aesop. And I don't know, I really do not know why Grandpapa liked me. He was 20 years older than Grandmother. So when we met Grandpapa, he was old. He was an old man. And I think because I was a sick kid, so I always had, there's always something wrong. There was always something upper respiratory going on. So I think he spent time with me because he was worried because I wasn't the one running and doing things. But he liked to read. He was a Latin scholar. He Fisk University to 1905. And he always liked to read Aesop. I think he was trying to, tell me things, like you need to learn things, you know what I'm saying? We used to argue about, but I didn't really get my handle on it until late in life recently, the grasshopper and the ant. And he, would always want to tell you that, sir, because he always wanted to remind you, that you should save for a rainy day. I always thought that the ants misused the grasshopper. And it took me a while, and I finally worked my way through it. I wrote a book. It's called The Grasshopper Song. And what I did was I had the grasshopper sue the ants. Grasshopper is an artist, right? He made music, and they laughed at him. They said, "Oh, you're just making music. You need to say for a reindeer with art." Am I not worthy? The grasshopper is going to seize the plankton. Am I not worthy of my bread? Didn't I do something that says that I should be a part of this? So I got that. Grandpa was gone, so I have to assume he's in heaven and said, well, she finally worked it out. But I also worried about Sisyphus. We started with the Greeks and stuff. You know how they always say the gods were punishing Sisyphus. Well, the gods can smite you. The gods don't have to, sit around and wonder how they're going to get back at you. They just cover you with ants or worms or whatever the hell they feel like. But you'd be dead. I mean, they take care of you, So that. And I was always interested that everybody was always making the gods really strange to me things. But Sisyphus bothered me because a lot of people have dealt with Sisyphus, and they all deal with it as if Sisyphus had a problem. And I thought about that a long time, and I realized Sisyphus was an artist. It's, again, just one of those things. There's not anybody in this room that does any kind of art, and you know exactly what happens. You can be a poet and have a bestseller, and you know what your friends say? I'm not dealing with people who don't like you. You know what your friends say? What you gonna do next? That's the truth. You can get a promotion and you're the president of the university, and your friends say, oh, where you going now? I mean, no matter what you do, somebody says, and what's next? And so it dawned on me, Sisyphus is pushing that rock up that hill. This is not a punishment. This is the challenge that every artist has. You paint the world's most beautiful picture. Everybody loves it. Well, what you gonna paint next? It's just a constant. We're here in Appalachian. You put a beautiful quilt together. Oh, you're going to do another quilt. People do that. It's just, they're always like, what's next? And I wrote a poem because I thought Sisyphus is an artist, and he pushed that rock up, but he, like all of us, needs a friend. And so he has his friend to help him bring that rock down. If he doesn't gently bring that rock down, the rock falls, it splatters. And that would be his talent, that would be our loss. And we've seen enough artists who didn't know how to bring that rock down. And the rock did crush them. Whether it was drugs, too much money, women, men, whatever it was a bad thing. So what you want to do, if you're Sisyphus, you push that rock up, you created something, you want to catch your breath, and you want to bring it down. And then you want to congratulate yourself that you got it up and got it down, because you know that you are going to have to push it back up again. It's what we do. I wrote a poem called The Artist. And so it comes to this. The sun beating down, the people indifferently passing, and we, out of breath in a pool of salty sweat, laughing, happy in each other's trust, that once again we gentled the stone all the way down, and we will now push it back up. But we will wait until the sun sets. We will wait until the stores close. We will wait while they put their garbage bags in the streets. We will wait until the dogs and rats have sniffed their choices. We will wait until the street cleaners push their brooms and the women offer their wares. We will hope the men are kind. We will salute the moon rising. We are Sisyphus. We write the poems, we paint the portraits, we sculpt the statues, we quilt the blankets. We set the tables, we make the beds, we wipe the tears, we rock the anger, we hold on till tomorrow. We were promised only this gift of light. You keep me from being lonely. I'd like to close on one of my, probably the point that most people, if they know anything about me, know is the ego tripping, because all the hip hop community, they always are what do you call it, sampling it. So it's really, really nice. It's nice that the kids like it. I was born in the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Sphinx. I designed a pyramid so tough that a star that only glows every 100 years falls into the center, giving divine, perfect light. I'm bad. I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert. With a packet of goat's meat and a change of clothes, I crossed it in 2 hours. I am a gazelle, so swift, you can't catch me. For a birthday present when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noah built Newark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus, Menentone, my loving name. All praises, I am the one who would save. I sowed diamonds in my backyard. My bowels deliver uranium. The filings from my fingernails are semi-precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. The hair from my head thinned and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky.